All right, hello, greeting, good evening, nerds around the world, and welcome to episode 131 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I am your host, Paul English, and we are back. Yes, we had another hiatus. You know the reason, life gets in the way. It happens, sadly, but we're back. And this time, I'm not going to make any ridiculous promises about when the next time we'll be back. Hopefully, it'll be soon, but I can't do it. But anyway, at the point, let's move on to today's topic. But before that, my bad, we are actually going to introduce our panel, beginning with our co-host, our co-founder. It's Chris Miller. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys? It's good to be back. And it's just like, yeah, love doing this with these guys. It's just love being part of the show. Let's get it on.
Absolutely. And you brought a friend with us as well?
Yes, and I don't know if you guys remember him. You know, he was on our show before. Welcome back, Matt Beer. Matt, it's great to come back to return.
I'm glad to be back. It's just been a short amount of time since I've been on the show. I believe we were talking about Rogue One, so
yes.
That's about a year and a half to 2 years, so not too long. So I'm glad to be here regardless. I enjoyed my time on the show the last time, so can't wait to get right into it.
Well, I'm just relieved we didn't scare you away. We have a bad habit of that, unfortunately. And a lot of it does have to do with Chris whenever he does his like maniac poses. And
I'm not a maniac. Your mom is a maniac. Yeah.
Ooh. You gonna take that, Paul? Nope, you know he will not.
Hey Colton, why don't you introduce yourself while we watch this?
Hey everyone, it's I'm Colton.
Who are you? Give me my dignity.
Yeah. Anyway, and I've got my Captain America shirt on, so as you probably guessed, that means more superhero talk.
oh yes.
Yes. You know, this could just be me, but I think I might have scarred everyone. I'm not sure if anyone noticed it, but did anyone notice when I muted Chris and he started mouthing? This, I don't know. I think his pants were on too tight on the back, if you get where I'm getting at. I think we might have got...
I don't want to imagine that, so...
Hey,
Chris, you might want to change your outfit. I don't think we need to see that. Let's move on to someone who definitely doesn't want to see that. It is Mike Ulick from Geek Salad. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. It's not my favorite thing to see now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just glad I wasn't watching his rant. So,
What's on your shirt, Mike?
this is my. But as you can, as you can see, that's Ant-Man's head on there. So
That's pretty cool, actually.
remember that old movie Empire Strikes Back?
The part of the Snow Planet, the walking things.
Give me my roadie.
Hey Tony, I think the kid's onto something. Or maybe the kid's onto something. Aim high, Tony. Go high.
Okay, Tony just big now. Shit.
So, as these guys have no doubt alluded, folks, it is superhero related, a topic again, but something a teeny bit different, I suppose. If you've been keeping track on social media and interviews and all that stuff, there have been a lot of big names in Hollywood who have warned that, superhero fatigue is coming. This is just a fad. Eventually, these films are going to go the way of the Western. Some big names like James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, big Hollywood names are saying this is not going to last. Well, last I checked, superhero movies have been going pretty strong for certainly the past 10 years. I would say even 18 years. These movies have been going pretty strong. Have they all been great? No, there have been a few hiccups and some pieces of shit along the way. But for the most part, a lot have been absolutely fantastic. So,
Okay, we give you this.
So that leads to the question, is superhero fatigue a real thing? Is it coming? And so guys, that's the first thing we're gonna get at. Why do so many, first of all, no, before we do that, why do so many people think it's coming? Let's discuss that real quick. Why do so many people think it's coming? And I think the reason is just obvious. I mean, there are so many superhero films coming out. I mean, Marvel started it with the whole MCU thing. They started these film became huge hit, and then they started cranking out 2 a year, 3 a year, and with their acquisition of Fox, assuming it becomes official, I could see them crank it up to 4, 5, even 6 films a year. Could you imagine us getting a new Marvel film every 2 months? Some people will think I'm in heaven, and others will say I'm in hell. So,
I'd be more in limbo, I think.
And then, DC's trying to catch their game up.
Ambivalent is the word.
Warner Brothers trying to catch up with their whole DC thing. And yeah, there's really no end to, the superhero films that are coming out. So I think that's the reason why, at least I think, but I want to get what you guys think. So Chris, I'll start with you. Why do you think so many people think superhero fatigue is coming?
It may come from a sense of apathy. It may come from a sense of I don't know. It's just like maybe from a cynical perspective, I suppose. Maybe people are just tired. Maybe those who are not fans of superhero movies just tired of them already, or maybe this is like they're trying to. Maybe the perspective is I'm not really sure. Does it feel like there's superhero fatigue at the moment? Not really. No, not really. There's not. I mean, superhero films are thriving. Right now, they're uber popular. I would argue the breakthrough of all that comes back 10 years when a little film called The Dark Knight entered into cinemas, and man, it's just like superhero movies will proceed in a different way. Because we all, of course, superhero movies were changing and evolving that year, particularly because we had the first Iron Man that started the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right now, we're not really experiencing fatigue. I mean, I'm sure it may. I mean, maybe it might have, it may not. I'm not really certain, but we're enjoying it. I mean, it's much to enjoy already. I mean, geek culture's already already extended into the mainstream. Sci-fi, fantasy, all that, but mostly superhero films, in particular, have enjoyed a mainstream appeal. Even you don't read comic books, they're the general movie-going audience does flock to see these movies. I don't feel it's really, I don't know. Like I said, with those declaring superhero fatigue is here, maybe it's just cynicism talking. I'm not really sure about that.
Okay, Colton, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I think one reason people think superhero fatigue is coming is because, well, it's inevitable for all kingdoms to, one day fall, and so people think, hey, it's going to happen one of these days. But I also think it's less that they have superhero fatigue and more that they might have MCU fatigue, so to speak. I mean, it's currently the longest-running superhero franchise out there and one of the longest-running franchises in general, and since all the movies are under one brand, you can feel like they're all sort of blurring together, and you have to, people feel, since the fact that people have to, see each and every one in order to understand the big picture, it can sort of make it feel kind of like a bit of a chore to get through, to have to watch all of them, especially when they're coming out one after the next 1 year after the next and all that jazz. I mean, we had 3 of them this year alone: Black Panther, Infinity War, and we just finished off with Ant-Man and the Wasp. But I also feel we also. So that's why I'm kind of glad that the MCU doesn't corner the market in superhero franchises, that there are other people doing superhero movies to sort of keep the cool fresh, I think. That's why I'm actually perfectly fine with the X-Men not being part of the MCU at the moment, and Deadpool doing his own thing in his own world and whatnot. It helps and we also have the DC Extended Universe. If this is all if the MCU was all we had, then I can really understand where superhero fatigue would become, why people would really feel like superhero fatigue is a thing. But at the moment, I feel like while there might be a fatigue with the MCU, so to speak, I don't think there's a fatigue with the whole genre in general.
Okay. Matt, what about you? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Colton on this. I don't think it's like a superhero fatigue in a sense. I think it's more of the MCU fatigue because just going by just people around me, give me 25 MCU movies a year and I'll watch every single one 5 times. But with people like my dad, I'm sensing he has fatigue with MCU at least. Sorry, my computer's making weird noises right now, staticky. But he'll go see DC movies. He'll go see, I don't know, say Dark Horse starts releasing things, he'll go see Spawn, but like he didn't go see Ant-Man in theaters, and I don't think he's going to go watch it in theaters. He did the same thing with Black Panther, but I think once like Infinity War comes out, we get Part 2 and all that stuff, I think you're going to notice, at least with the MCU, the amount of money it makes, especially if they make like the Eternals and whatnot. It's going to go a little downhill. I mean, if they're good movies, they're not going to bomb or anything. They'll still make their money back and they'll make more, but you're not going to really see a whole lot of $1 billion MCU movies, which is perfectly fine because making $1 billion is fantastic. You'll probably see more like $600 to $800 million, unless you get like Iron Man 4, then I will probably make $1 billion for sure. But, you know, like I just, like Colton said, I think it's more of an MCU fatigue than anything because other than Justice League, the DCEU has done well financially. Obviously not as well as the MCU, but they've, you know, made a good amount of money. But, you know, that's what I think it is mostly.
Okay. Mike, you are up. Why do you think so many people think this superhero fatigue thing is coming?
Not sure why. I'm not sure because it doesn't exist. Plain and simple. Yeah, that term was created by people that want to see, that don't think that comic book movies are authentic, fair, and are not worthy of being called films. So they want to see it fail. So they say, "Oh yeah, people are getting tired of it." I'm sorry. How much money did Infinity War make? Was it $2 billion?
It's over 650 million in this country.
How much money did Black Panther make? Was it
over 650 million?
Worldwide, was it over 1 billion? I think. Does that sound like fatigue to you? Does that sound like people are no longer going to? No, it sounds like people are going to these movies in droves because they're good, because people want to see them.
Infinity War made $2.041 billion.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fatigue. I mean, did anyone ever say, "Oh wow, we got Western fatigue. These things are going"? No, because and what happened to the Westerns? People stopped going to them. When people stop going to movie genre, it goes away. Does it sound like people are not going to the comic book movies anymore? Not really, nah. It sounds like if they still make good movies, people will go to see them. Wow. So there are 6 comedies that made this year. Oh, wow. That's way too many. We need to cut back. There's people get comedy fatigue, right? Yeah, no bullshit. No.
Can't wait for the cut back though.
Well, yeah. I wish they'd make more good ones anyway. But no, it's just. I mean, you guys may think that there's an MCU fatigue or whatever, but as long as they're making good movies and movies that twist the genre enough that it feels fresh and new, people will still go because people will still want to see what they do, and that's not fatigue, that's enthusiasm. So, superhero fatigue does not exist. It's created by people that have rods shoved up their ass too far. So done. Yeah. Enough said.
Picks up their butt.
Okay. All right. Well said, Mike. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right.
Just bring out the Kevin Bacons of the genres. Just try to get the rigid people with their thumbs up, their sticks up their ass. It's like, oh my God.
Right. And ultimately, changing up how the MCU makes their movies is what's going to continue to make them money. Because if we just keep making the exact same movie, eventually people aren't going to go see it. That's what happened to Westerns. They didn't.
Look at you, Star Wars. I mean, let me stop.
So yeah,
let's not start that.
Yeah, that's for another topic.
Yeah, we don't need a bunch of people hating on us right now for anything talking Star Wars. But no, that's ultimately what it's going to say then. I mean, people might point out Ant-Man and the Wasp, be like, oh, it's only made $198 million. That means the MCU is starting to go downhill. That's what Ant-Man was expected. Ant-Man wasn't expected to be $1 billion movie. It was expected to be, like a 500 to 700 million.
It's the breather after Infinity War. I mean, if anyone expected it to make that much money, they were really overestimating Ant-Man's appeal. I mean, I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I'm just saying he was never going to make that much money after Infinity War came out.
Oh, yeah.
What I love about the MCU though is that they do take their time and give us breather storylines and don't. Because I feel like that's how they've avoided the problem that the X-Men had, where I feel like they tried upping the ante with every film to the point where it kind of. So I liked how the MCU sometimes has these smaller stories like Ant-Man and the Wasp that's helped keep them from being too samey or what have you.
Those of you know, I took a jab at Star Wars. I was just joking. For the record, I like Solo. So.
Right. And I mean, with Ant-Man and the Wasp, though, that's why I loved it so much, is because they were able to make it feel like the stakes were really, really high when they were like really, really small compared to what we got with the last 5 movies. So,
the entire movie was basically about trying to help one person.
Yeah.
Essentially. Or, well, actually, definitely help two people, but it wasn't like, oh no, the world's going to end. No, we're just trying to shrink real small.
We got to save somebody.
Yeah.
Right. No spoilers, guys.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Okay, so, well, guys, without realizing it, y'all answered just my second question, which was, why has it, if so many people seem to think it's coming, why has it not arrived yet? And I think, Colton, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. Like, not only, or Colton and Matt, I think both of you nailed it. Like, not only do they, actually, Colton, Matt, and Mike, y'all kind of nailed it. Like, they twist the genre, especially Marvel, they have this way, like, twisting the genre just enough to make it seem new, different. And then, after huge juggernauts like Black Panther and Infinity War, they'll have, like, smaller films like Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I need to see. But, so yeah, I think that's a big reason why it still hasn't come yet. So, I mean, Mike, I already know how you're going to answer this. But the rest of you guys, do you think it will ever come? Do you think there will come a time when superhero films become, or we get this superhero fatigue thing?
I mean, eventually all things have to come to an end. You can't just or you can't just keep something going on forever. I mean, yeah, they'll make, let's say, Star Wars. Before Solo, people were like, oh, it's this unstoppable machine. Star Wars is the biggest thing in the world. Solo came out. It has its little weaknesses, but Star Wars seems going strong, but it's going to end eventually. You can't continue, at least with the MCU. They're going to have to eventually reboot it, but I'm not talking like in 5 years or 10 years. I'm talking maybe 20, 30, 40 years, assuming that they can keep twisting the genre. But, I mean, so yeah, I mean, look, I mean, obviously it was completely different in like the 80s stuff, but we got like Batman the movie, and then, we had Superman 2, which was in like 78 or whatever. And then we got our Batman and Robin, our Quest for Peace. So eventually these movies have come, and thank God Fan Stick wasn't that movie. So, I mean, it's going to happen eventually. It's just going to take a very, very long time, longer than most genres or franchises, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the time is.
I agree. I feel like at worst, when it does happen, it's not like the genre will just disappear. Though it'll be more like they'll go back to releasing one or two movies every few years or so, rather than us getting them steadily 1 year, like in years consecutively and all that jazz. Because there were. Let's see here. There was a long gap between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins and all that jazz, and when X-Men rebooted, we started the second wave of superhero films. We didn't get another one until Spider-Man came out 2 years later, I think.
I think so. I don't know when Blade came out, but I know.
98.
Yeah. Was Blade 2000 or was it 1998?
1998.
Blade 1 was 98.
Okay. There was like a 2 year gap or so with only it was like the only superhero. It was like only one superhero film per year or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So for the final, point of discussion, I want to bring up for this topic.
I can't answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, you already know. We already know your answer. Saying it's not going to come because it doesn't exist.
Well, it doesn't exist now, no. But I mean, if they come out with like they said, Superman 4, Quest for Peace, Batman and Robin, you start getting like a whole bunch of those maybe bunched up together, and people will stop going. But as long as they keep doing good quality movies, then
DC.
I think people are wise on that one.
As long as we don't get any more Fan 4-6, I think we're going to be good.
And for me, right now, I don't think we're going to see it until at least Kevin Feige leaves the MCU. Because right now he's got a firm hold on that, and he's just printing money right now. After him, they need to find somebody that has his similar qualifications, and that's not easy to do because he's kind of one in a million.
Yeah,
he's a guy that knows how to produce like nobody's business, but he's also a huge fan of the property. He loves Marvel Comics, and if you can't get somebody that can do both of those aspects, if you get somebody that's like all producer, then we're going to get like a bunch of Batman and Robins, and then nobody's going to go see him anymore.
Yeah, if Kathleen Kennedy replaces Kevin Feige, then it's probably going to collapse at that point. Because you'll have a bunch of people just screaming, SJW, shill.
You do not need that happening to Marvel. Okay.
Probably have to wonder how many people actually knew who Kathleen Kennedy was until the behind-the-scenes problem started, but that's another story.
I had an idea of who she was before.
Yeah, dude. She produced E.T., Jurassic Park.
Yeah, she's been a producer for
made some of the best films of all time.
Yeah.
So.
Some people never even bothered to look at her resume. Like, just look at it and you go, I mean, come on.
Like, that movie's great, that movie's great, that movie's great, but she produced The Last Jedi. Oh no, she's the worst.
Right, of course.
Yeah, that's how people always are. It's like, what have you done for me lately? That's how people always are these days. Okay.
It's always cautionary. If episode 9 is just incredible, like everybody loves it and stuff, then Kathleen Kennedy's a hero.
Star Wars fans are fickle like that, but I mean, you remember first George Lucas sucked, and now it's like, oh my gosh, they ruined his creation. How dare they?
Right. It's like the prequels are best. They're the best.
Yeah, right. So
Like,
they actually like lines like the sand line that Hayden Christensen said. It's rough.
Well, no, they still hate that line. I've seen enough comments in Facebook.
Oh, it's now considered from a horrible, cringy piece of dialogue to a brilliant piece of dialogue. Oh,
right. That's why people at Star Wars Celebration will bring jars of sand to take pictures with them. That's what they did at the Orlando one, and that was just the best. Mm-hmm. I was standing in line with during, I think it was for the 40th, and there was people with jars of sand. It was just like,
oh, you were there? You were there too?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. I wasn't in the main hall for the 40th, but I was in the first satellite room.
Yeah, I didn't end up making it in the main thing. I was in one of the rooms too, but I was able to get into Last Jedi.
Sorry, what was your? Before we forget, what was going to be your last question, Paul?
yeah, there we go.
Okay, so for the last thing, I want to bring up to you, I want you guys to throw out some idea, like what can these studios, particularly Disney with Marvel and Warner Brothers with DC, and I guess any other studio that have rights to like superhero films like Spawn or these other what can these studios do to make sure that superhero fatigue doesn't come, or rather is slow to come, or like if they can't prevent it, then maybe they can stall it for a time being. So I want to hear what you guys think they can do to make sure it doesn't happen. For me, I think there are a couple things they can do, and I'm specifically looking at Marvel, presuming this deal with Fox goes through. And it's something, as I said earlier, they're going to be tempted once they have X-Men and Fantastic Four. I'm sure they're going to be tempted to crank out like 5-6 films a year, which, as much as I would love that, I don't think that's a good idea. If they want to go to 4, that's fine, but keep us wanting more. Okay, that's how you do it. Don't give us 6 films a year.
I think in the next year or two, we're going to get an announcement, maybe in 2018, so 2019's Comic-Con or D23, Kevin Feige or whoever's going to come out and be like, we're releasing 4 movies a year in 2020. because they got Fox or whatever. But what Disney needs to do, especially if they get Fox, tie it into your universe, connect it. That's very important, obviously, because you don't want to confuse people. But continue to let Fox do what they've been doing with like New Mutants, whether it's good or bad. Who knows at this point? What they did with Logan, what they did with Deadpool. Just keep letting them do that, because I think that alone, even if like let's say the Eternals come out, like it feels the same as some other MCU movies that we've seen before. If they let like Fox kind of handle the X-Men stuff, but still connecting it to the MCU, kind of like what Sony does with Spider-Man with Marvel, I feel like that would be enough to where it can carry on the MCU for at least another 10 years, for sure. And then if they have to reboot it, in 10, 12, 20 years, whatever, then they can start off the bat with X-Men and stuff. They can kind of do that while still, having it be in the MCU. I think that's what they need to do. And then for everybody else, and Marvel included, just keep on doing something different. Like, I would love to see a buddy cop movie with Deadpool and Spider-Man down the road. I would love to see that. Give us a romantic comedy, do all these different things. And, I think they'll be fine for a long, long time until, they start losing a little money. Then they'll have to change it up again, or maybe bring back certain characters. So.
Yeah, I brought that up, when Caleb and I did our live reaction to the Disney Fox deal, and I was basically like begging Marvel. I'm like, don't screw with Deadpool, okay? Let him stay rated R. If you want to tone him down to PG-13 for like larger ensemble films, that's fine. But when he's off doing his own thing, let him be rated R. So that's one thing. You're right about that. And then also, like you said, keep adding new genres into the film, like with what you did with Winter Soldier. That was a spy thriller, a political thriller. What you did with Ant-Man, that was a heist movie. I mean, those types of genre films were huge in the 60s and 70s. They fell out of favor. Marvel sort of reintroduced them. So keep doing that. New Mutants, I think that's the horror film that Fox is trying. You'll keep trying. Is it all going to work? Is it going to work all the time? No, but that's the thing you got to do to keep it interesting, keep it fresh and whatnot. So yeah, I agree with you. Keep trying new things, and don't have every film be a cookie cutter. Make some R-rated films. Make some. I totally agree with that. Except I want a buddy cop with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, I'm begging Hugh Jackman, you're being in a Marvel movie. Can you come back just one more time? Can you come back one more time? It's a long shot, but please.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I remember back when the initial deal was made for $52 billion or whatever, Bob Iger did come out and say that they weren't going to change the rating for Deadpool as long as the audience knows ahead of time what they're getting. So I think once everything's transferred over and we start seeing X-Men and stuff, the thing they could do, which is great with Deadpool, they can keep Ryan Reynolds and they could fit in still. I mean, it could totally work still. And they said they'll make it rated R, so I feel like Deadpool won't change at all. It's going to be very interesting with the other guys, though, what they're going to do with New Mutants. There's the rumor that could be on the Disney streaming, so or maybe they're fitting it into an MCU. Who knows? So that's what I think is going to happen.
Chris, what about you? What are some ideas you have to make sure this fatigue thing doesn't come?
I'm not sure if I can add more to what you guys said, honestly, but variety is essential if they want to keep this thing going. And I'm talking about variety of genres with the approach to their movies. I mean, that's what kept Marvel, in the game for so long, for 10 years. Captain America, Winter Soldier, so spy movie, conspiracy thriller. It's a mess of different genres. Guardians of the Galaxy, space opera, Ant-Man's heist film. Just all these different things, and it's just like try to focus on new talent. Just don't go with a rigid idea of what superheroes can be. Just like, what you want to keep in mind though is that it's that sense of inclusiveness, not just catering to the established fan base, but to the mainstream movie-going audience. That's what's essentially important. That it can be esoteric. It's like things are going fine at the moment, but DC, and I'm looking at you, DC, get your shit together.
Which actually, with DC though, since you brought that up, I actually think at Comic-Con they're going to announce something that is going to make everybody happy. I love what they're doing with this new Joker movie. I kind of hope that they do with other movies where if they're in their own world. Maybe the new Batman reboot is in its own universe, and it's not in the DCEU, and they can still keep Ben Affleck and stuff. Because the audience isn't going to be confused at that point when you do different things. I mean, we had The Flash with Grant Gustin, now with Ezra Miller. That hasn't affected anybody. Maybe they like Grant Gustin more, but they're not confused as far as the movies and the TV show. And that's what I think Marvel could do as well. After Avengers 4, just stick to your own world. Like, you don't have to do big team-up things all the time. Maybe every, 5-6 years, but that might also help a lot too, because then the audience won't feel like they have to watch every MCU movie, and that won't scare them away as much. That also could help too.
Sorry, guys, I had to speak to somebody. Okay, Colton, what can you contribute anything to this? What suggestions do you have?
Briefly, like Chris, I've said, DC, Sony, Fox, they all need to step their games up and what have you to ensure that the pool isn't all put on Marvel to sort of keep everything floating, because like I said, we can't rest everything on Marvel's hands to make sure people don't get tired of the genre, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I think what DC in particular needs to do is dial back on their sense of scale at the moment, because we've had 4 movies now, right? Or
5.
We've had 5 movies. I think all of them have been about the world really getting destroyed or something like that. So yeah, I feel like a smaller scale story will definitely help them out more. And as for Marvel, after Avengers 4, they definitely need to. Since Avengers 4 is going to have them saving the universe and all that jazz, they definitely need to, for their next couple of few films, just keep dial back in the scale a bit more. Keep the story, go back to making the stories more, keep the stories more personal and all that jazz. And I think that'll keep people interested in following the journeys and all that jazz. And one of the things I loved about Phase 2 was how they explored the aftermath, explored the fallout of Avengers, how it affected everybody. So if Phase 4 does that for the MCU again, I think that will keep people from feeling tired of it, or so to speak.
Yeah. All I say is this: if they reboot Superman, which is highly unlikely at this point, I gotta say one thing: if the plot is about Lex Luthor trying to buy land or something like that, I'm through. I am through. I'm done.
One other thing, though, is that if we ever do see Deadpool in a PG-13 movie, I just want to see him decapitate. I will crack up if we see him decapitate an alien or something. He says, "Okay, so remind me, how is me decapitate? So because the guy is not human, it's perfectly fine for me to cut his head off, and everybody's okay with this. So how's it different if I cut off a person's head?
No blood."
The Joker lines in there kind of mix it up. Cutting off an alien's head, nobody bats an eye. But if I cut off a human's head,
everybody loses their minds.
Yeah, they just add that in. That'd be great.
Or you see him about to cut a person's head off, but the camera fades down, and he looks down like, "Well, I wanted to show it to you, but it's PG-13."
I mean, I hope to God that Deadpool 2, their Blu-ray release with the extended cut, is called the Snyder Cut. I just hope they.
Just to troll people. Oh my God.
Now maybe the Whedon cut.
Oh yes, he went.
It's just so that we don't have scenes of people having their mustache removed.
I just want to see the cut of Deadpool where everyone's got a mustache for every scene.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Admittedly, that CG did get better in the Blu-ray release. Okay, I saw it. It does get better.
I was gonna say this about. No, go ahead.
All right, Mike. What suggestions do you have?
Stay true to the characters.
Yes.
I mean, one thing that.
Look at you, DC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not making this whole Marvel versus DC, but I mean, it's a thing because it's true. I mean, Marvel has been taking these characters, and what you read when you read the comic books and then you watch the movies, I mean, it may not look exactly the same, but the character, the essence of the character is still spot on. That is the same character from one to the other. you read Superman comics, and then you go watch Man of Steel. It's a fine science fiction movie, but when Pa Kent tells him, should I have to all these people? Nah, fuck them. I mean, that's that's
not who Jonathan Kent is.
No. Jonathan Kent was, you're destined for something greater. There are parts of that movie that I really enjoyed, but there are other parts that I really rubbed me the wrong way with that one.
Yeah,
because it didn't feel like it was staying true to the character that I loved from the comics.
I feel like Man of Steel is an example of what happens when you try to repurpose the character but don't really fully commit to it. Because, Jonathan Kent says, the maybe line, but it's like there's not much else to that scene. So I feel like they just had that done just to be shocking and what have you. It's kind of the same problem I had with the Amazing Spider-Man, but that's another story.
Yeah, and I mean, Man of Steel.
Yeah, I don't like skateboard but I don't like skateboard wielding Peter Parker. That's not who
you're saying, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say I like what they were going for with Man of Steel as far as the I guess more realistic type of what it would be like today type thing. I just don't feel like they pulled it off successfully. Everybody freaks out about Zod getting his neck snapped. That I have no issues with.
Hey, does anybody remember Superman 2?
Yeah,
you remember.
Yeah, I have no issues with that. The thing that really pissed me off more than anything was when, Pa Kent dies because of a tornado.
It's like,
if you're going to kill him, do the heart attack thing. Come on. Or keep him alive,
I'd say the problem with him dying in that tornado is that he dies, but it doesn't really change Clark as a character, so to speak. Like, he still is perfectly fine whenever he sees someone in danger, every time we see him, whenever someone's in danger, we always see him rushing to the rescue and all that jazz. If Jonathan's death caused him to, be more reserved about using his powers and what have you, I think that would have made the scene have a lot more significance. But as it stands, it's like Jonathan's dead, but Clark, and we see him rescue those people on that oil rig. We see him using his powers in front of Lois. It's like,
yeah.
Again, repurpose of a scene that doesn't really that they don't fully commit to.
Yeah, when you go back to the 1978 Superman, when Pa Kent dies of that heart attack, and you just see the utter helplessness in Clark, that scene is it is a million times more powerful than that. No, stop.
Don't
do something right here.
And then, he switched out by the scenario. No. Yeah. That's what grounded him.
There was no emotional stakes in that. There was, but you didn't feel it because there was no feeling of helplessness. There was like, I can help you, but you don't want me to, so okay.
Yeah, that's
the great thing about that scene, though.
That logic is so flawed. Really, it's just like they didn't. It's like they took a shit in their hand and hoped it would stick on the wall. They threw it on the wall, hoping it would stick or something like that.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that scene with Superman 78, where Pa Kent dies of a heart attack, and why I think it's far superior than the tornado stop thing is the fact that it shows Clark that he can't save everybody from anything. Like, there was no way he could save him from a heart attack. Who gives a fuck? Save him from a tornado. Fly real fast. Nobody will know what's going on. It's just fly, or not fly, maybe run or whatever in a blink of an eye. You're supposed to be super fast.
I felt that the thing that kind of undoes that whole thing for Superman 78, I may be wrong about this, said the whole reversing the world kind of thing, going back in time to save Lois. I don't know.
Well, as silly as that was, I feel like that also it sort of tied back while Clark was while he was helpless again when he lost Lois at the end of the 1978 Superman film. I felt like felt the point of that scene was that while he remembered that he couldn't save his dad, he was going to just this once be able to try to. He wasn't going to let himself be held back. He was going to do whatever he could this time to save her life. And admittedly, when they did it again in Superman 2, that's when the whole, reversing time thing suddenly lost a lot of its agency. Because at first I thought Superman 1 was more of a sort of 11th hour superpower thing, but then Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut was like, oh, never mind, he can do it just whenever he wants. So, yeah.
I mean, I was glad they didn't go with that. I mean, there was a reason why I think he wasn't able to complete that film because of that whole thing that negates. I mean,
that ending was not the one that was originally planned by Donner, but the Salkinds forced him to just cut it short, so he had to do that to just wrap things up in a quicker way. Yeah. That's why it doesn't look quite gel with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on this topic about Superman.
Yeah, guys, we do need to wrap up the show, but you guys did actually give me inspiration to ask one final question. Everything that we've discussed so far, it's all been about the movies. Do you think what we've talked about can apply to the TV shows? You got CW's Arrowverse, Marvel's Netflix shows, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gotham's wrapping up its season. I'm in the minority of the people who liked it, but I mean, we all seem to like the Arrowverse shows, the Marvel Netflix shows. Do you think what we've discussed, can apply to these shows? Chris?
Well, to an extent, I suppose. I feel just looking. Yeah, I mean, technically, the Arrowverse shows is I like to call them the DC TVU, as I like to. I want to coin that term. Technically, they're leaps and bounds ahead of what we see with the George Reed Superman series and the Lois and Clark. Yeah, but I think pretty much what makes those work to people, why they draw a lot of people in, it's just like it's the faithfulness to the essence of the material. That's what makes it work. However, I feel that these characters will work better if we watch, if we do, I mean, to an extent, you want to do, I feel is this, if they're DC, both DC and Marvel to continue on, you want to keep some characters, you want to have some characters transition to the big screen, and others you want to do in the televisual side of things. If this were to work, I feel streaming services would be the best avenue to keep this thing going on the television side of things. That's where I think. Because Marvel has thrived on the streaming service end of things. With Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Punisher. Yeah, people have raved about those shows. So I feel that's where they can be bound by certain things, by certain limitations imposed. So you see, we have on network television. I think that's the thing to keep it going on the television side of things. I don't mind them doing it. I mean, it could work both ways. On the network, on the broadcasting side, from a prism of network television, also from streaming. It's all about coexistence for me. I think that's how you should keep it fresh and keep it going.
Okay, Colton, what about you?
I feel it's one of the things we've talked about already do apply to the TV side of things. Like we talked about Variety and all that jazz. We've got shows on multiple networks and what have you, CW, Fox, ABC, Netflix. There's a plethora of variety in shows and genres. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why things are going pretty strongly on the TV side of things is that there's a lot to go around. There's, in addition to the heroes, 1 minute heroes we saving the world on one show, sometimes they're dealing with their small personal demons like on Jessica Jones. Sometimes they have to save Earth and what have you. But none of it feels samey because they're all spread across, different places with multiple people putting in a lot of work to make sure that they do their best and whatnot.
Okay, Matt, what about you?
I don't think they have to apply what we talked about with the movies right now or for a long time, depending on how long this, what their plans are. Like with CW, it seems like they're planning on going on for as long as they possibly can. They got so much going on, and it's working for the most part. I mean, they have some seasons that aren't quite as good as the others, but they seem to be doing fine. People are still tuning in for years and years and years. With Netflix right now, I don't think it needs to apply to that at the moment because they, like people have said with the Marvel shows, whether it's Netflix or Cloak and Dagger or the Runaways, yada yada yada, they do have their own different genres, so it's gonna feel fresh either way. I feel, but I may be down the line with, let's say we have Daredevil season 10 for some reason. Maybe then start, adding new flavor to the shows. But at this moment, I don't think they need to.
Okay. Mike, what about you? Can you add to this? Do you think anything we've discussed so far can be applied to the TV shows?
Well, I think to a certain extent it kind of already is. I mean, Greg Berlanti is another one of those Kevin Feige types where he knows how to produce, he knows how to be a successful producer, but he also loves these characters. That's why Arrow has been going on for 7 years now.
6 years.
That's why The Flash has been such a hit. That's why
Supergirl,
Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, that show is more fun than it has any right to be, but it is extraordinarily fun. Supergirl, I mean, because the characters, for the most part, give or take a couple of seasons. Arrow season 5. Enough said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought 4 was worse.
Wait, which one was the one with Damien Dark?
That was 4.
Okay, then it was 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No.
Great villain, bad season.
Yeah, we do not need magic going in the Arrow in the Arrow. Thank you. But the reason why, for the most part, most of the series and characters work so well is because they're staying true to their comic origins, with little twists here and there, but the essence is still, and so it's not alienating the core fan base, but it's also making them accessible to a wider audience, so it gets more people than just that core fan base. Because if they just stuck with the fanboy nerds, then these shows would have like 2,000 people watching them. I mean, with Netflix, I mean, the reason why most people aren't really big fans of Iron Fist is because the show really kind of it didn't capture who Iron Fist from the comics is. It's they said okay, it's a rich boy that learns kung fu and then comes back. Let's put that on the screen. Didn't work because that wasn't Danny Rand. You finally started to see elements of Danny Rand in the Defenders.
Right.
So I think as long as they can really click into what the series and all the characters are about and what makes them so popular to the fanboys, then they have an easier way of adapting the characters to a wider audience. That, and I think they need to shorten down the seasons a little bit. I think 10 episodes would be perfect for all those.
Yeah.
Well, I probably with the Netflix shows I agree, but you kind of led an interesting point in what I wanted to go over, and what I do think they need to do, like Greg Berlanti needs to start doing with his CW shows. I think he needs to ditch the one big villain problem, because that has really slowed down the past couple of seasons of Arrow. As much as I've enjoyed it, it's the one big bad. It really slowed down Flash this season. Great season, but the Thinker is just not a good enough villain to last a whole season. I think what he needs to do is he needs to start having like 2 villains, like one for the first half, they kill him or they throw him in jail, and then the last scene of the mid-season finale, new villain shows up. My turn.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did in season 4, I think. First half was Ghost Rider, second half was LEDs.
LMDs.
LMDs, yeah. I mean,
Ghost Rider LMDs in the framework.
That was great. I mean,
because Ophelia. Yes, Ophelia.
Yeah, because it just took what would have been a very overblown plot and space it down to more manageable sizes.
Exactly.
Like they did season 5 too, because first season was they were in the future and then they're back at home.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think Berlanti needs to start doing that. And is it just? And I know I'm going off on a bit of a tip, but is it me, or does do Oliver and Barry have a really hard time learning lessons? Like,
They
I
can
get,
get repetitive.
you know, they can be
to certain
slow to learn these
Certain
lessons. I can relate to that, but it takes 6 years for Oliver to learn to start trusting people. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Did I,
Well, no. He trusts people, but then they've got, we gotta throw something in a mess. So betrayal.
we gotta track them. Yes, we gotta do something to track their movements.
We can trust them. Oh wait, he betrayed me. Oh, okay, I trust him now. Oh, betrayed me. Yeah. So I mean, sometimes it can go a little overboard into melodrama.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So that was my 2 cents regarding the DVD. Okay, guys. So I think that what we seem to have come to an agreement with is that regarding superhero fatigue is it's not here yet, and provided these studios they take the right steps, either it won't come or it will come in about a very long time. I think that's the consensus we seem to have come to agree to. With that, to close this out, this show, would that be fair?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go, guys. Superhero fatigue. Despite everyone saying it, it's not here yet, and as long as these companies make the right steps, it's not going to come for a very, very long time, if at all. So keep enjoying your films, everyone. Keep enjoying your superhero films, everyone. They ain't going away anytime soon. And with that, that wraps up episode 131 of our show. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Chris, it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, it's great doing this. It's great doing this with you guys. Just love doing this show. It's always great to be here.
Absolutely. Colton, it was a pleasure having you here.
It was great being here as well. I really enjoyed this topic, and Wakanda forever!
You know, Chadwick Boseman actually has requested people stop doing that.
Yeah, I know. I can't say I blame him, but it's a badass chant, though.
I agree. You're right. I thought it was awesome. Matt, it was a pleasure having you back here. I hope you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm hoping to come back very, very soon. It depends on time and when the show is going on.
All right. And Mike, my man, it was an absolute pleasure, sir.
Great to be here as always. And you know what? Despite all crapping on DC we did, I am super excited for the DC universe. I've already signed up for hopefully the beta test. So
Titans coming soon. Oh my god.
Titans. Dude, the entire run of Batman animated series. That's worth
Young Justice.
That's worth the price alone.
I wonder how much that's going to be.
I'm actually interested in Aquaman coming out, if you can believe it.
Actually, no. The pictures have been pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
All right. Yeah. Guys, I cannot tell how much it was a pleasure to be back doing this. I know it's been a month since we did. I needed to do this. I definitely need to do this. A lot's been going on, so I need to do this. I don't know about everyone else, but yeah, I needed to do this. And like I said, we can't make any promises, unfortunately, because hopefully it won't be another month before we get our next show on the air. I can't promise it'll be next week, but I promise hopefully it won't be another month. So we will see you next time on the show. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.